Awesome, let's get started. So this is just a legal disclaimer that this presentation is purely for educational purposes, and medical and/or legal decisions about vaccines must be made in consultation with the health professional. So we are Teens for Vaccines. Our mission is to educate and empower teens to get vaccinated and be champions of public health. We have ambassadors all across the country, and you can learn more about us on our website. Just a quick reminder that we may have some hot mics, so during the duration of the presentation, we ask that you keep your mics muted.
Hi, 643.
But we can keep cameras on, and we love to see you guys. So our vision is all teens knowing their vaccine schedules and having easy access to them, and having them be able to consent to those vaccines on their own, because we believe that no one should live in fear, get sick, or die from vaccine preventable diseases. And some of our priorities are raising awareness of life-saving vaccines among teens, working with schools, healthcare providers, parents, teachers, and legislators on strategies to engage teens and students. We also want to report mis, dis, and malinformation on social media, and that includes advocating for legislation, for vaccine and mask mandates, for safer schools, minor consent laws, HPV and MenB vaccines, protection from anti-vax violence at vaccination clinics, and racist attacks, along with greater control on social media. That all comes back to the disinformation and deplatforming. We are so excited to be joined by Dr. Ilan Shapiro from ThisIsOurShot and Vacuna Taya. Dr. Shapiro has a very impressive resume, I have to say, and he had the honor of serving as the Mexican liaison to the World Health Organization. He also serves at Altamed, and he serves over 300,000 patients along with his team, and he has regularly appeared on international news outlets such as CNN, NBC, Telemundo to share information about emerging health topics and translate them to understandable languages for all ages and stages in life. He is just amazing, and he's a spokesperson for the American Academy of Pediatrics. He's a pediatrician, and we are so excited to have him here. He is a great advocate for public health, and yeah, let's get into it. So, Dr. Shapiro, I'm gonna hand it over to you.
Thank you so much, Ayaan, and it's a pleasure and an honor. And let me tell you that I have been doing a lot of conferences and talking about this topic, but when they asked me to be here, it was a complete yes, yes, and yes. I do believe that not only because if this works or doesn't work, it's more important than that. Right now, and probably all of you are right now tired that, oh, you're pro-vax or anti-vax or whatever. No. I'm going to start with this as a human being. I'm a father. I have 2 kids, and I for sure want to give you enough information right now to all of you. That way you see a lot of more information. You're getting the basic science of this and get you excited. Why are we doing this part? I'm going to try to at least give you the basics of this, how it works, where we are, what's the numbers. And after that, more importantly, I want to answer any question that you may have. And that's where the magic happens. Next, please. It's quite interesting right now how everything we're hearing. And we hear RNA and the vaccines and new technology, but what's the meaning of this, right? Like, is it like the old movies that you bring like different animals back to life? Is it changing my DNA? Well, I have very good news. The idea of this, and you can actually see it in front of you, is that RNA it's practically instruction code. With the vaccines, especially with Pfizer and Moledina, we're giving that instruction codes to our cells. It doesn't go inside of the DNA. That means that, if you thought that you're going to get superpowers or be transformed to something different, no, my friend, just you will be having more antibodies and be more protected only. Then it goes actually on the outside part of the inside of the cell, outside of the nucleus. The nucleus actually has all the component of genetics that you are. And it tells your body how to produce antibodies. That way, the next time, when you have an infection against COVID-19, you are already prepared. And the best way to give the example of this is kind of giving pictures of the most wanted to your cells. That way they are looking for them. And when they're coming in, they send the neutralizing antibodies to make sure that they do not cause any damage. And that's the way that our body recognizes, the virus, and it works. Next, please. I'm going perfect. And we have another vaccine that is the Johnson & Johnson one. And by the way, clearing any doubts, none of these vaccines have actually the virus inside. And a lot of people were asking, well, you know what? I'm getting the vaccines. Am I going to get infected? No virus there. But Johnson & Johnson actually uses an amazing way. And the best way to example this is actually gets a virus and it puts like little spikes on top of it. It's not COVID-19, it's a different virus. And it gives it, this type of wiggling things. And that way our body looks at the COVID, at the adenovirus, that's actually the one that it's inside of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. It goes like, oh my God, that's COVID-19. Then at the moment that actually starts killing the adenovirus, it learns how to destroy the little spikes that we have there against Johnson & Johnson. And that's a very effective way to do this. The technology that we're using for Pfizer and Moledina and Johnson & Johnson have been evolving for past 20 years. Then whoever tells you, this is new thing, in reality, it's not. We had SARS and MERS that were actually cousins from COVID-19. They were in Middle East countries and other parts that were actually fighting us. Then, this is the best way to actually do it. And Johnson & Johnson, we have been using the same technology against another virus in Africa called Ebola, and it has been amazing, and it has been, saving a lot of people. Next, please. Why are we here, and what's the most important thing that we need to do when we're talking with people? First of all, we need to acknowledge, and I will call it -1. We need to acknowledge that we all are nervous. We all have fears, and we have all questions. And whoever doesn't have questions, I'm actually worried about you, because just, like the same way that when you see something and, you see a dish, does it taste good? Is it cold, warm? We always have questions, and that's okay to have them. That actually will keep you, honest, and it will guide you to the correct answer. Then I'm going to give you a couple of things that are very important. Why, we are vaccinating? Well, in reality, right now, we have given the vaccine to more than 200 million people. And it has been safe, and we're protecting them. You will hear this, and sadly, we have seen when people did not got, the vaccine, and they were very sick in summer, most of them were people that were not vaccinated. Then, we know now that it works. Next, please. The other one is, yes. Whoever tells you like there's no side effects in the world, well, they are lying to you. That we need to acknowledge that we have certain side effects that are common. The same way that if we drink a lot of water, we can actually drown ourselves. The same thing happens with side effects. There's something that we need to talk about. And I'm going to skip actually sore arm, because that's actually the most common one. You can feel tired, you can have a headache, you have muscle pain, you have joint pain, a little bit of fever, and that's sore arm. And by the way, and don't tell any adult about this, but us as adults, we have more symptoms than you. Then, for example, my kiddos were vaccinated last week, and they had a little bit of shoulder pain, and they were playing soccer 3 hours afterwards. Normal Friday school and stuff. When I got my shot, I felt I didn't want to move, and I was very tired. But it's usually safer and better for young, less than 18-year-olds. Next, please. And this is very important. Compared to all the vaccines that we have in the world, this vaccine, it's very effective. And it's important to understand that there's nothing 100% on the world, but this is actually as close as we get. It's very important right now to understand that we are putting it out there. We're actually protecting ourselves. And not only that, the idea of this is to make sure that we are preventing people to go to the hospital, dying, of course. And at the moment that we close the door with more people that are vaccinated, the virus cannot jump from one person to another. And actually that helps a lot with the conversation of how protective it is. And most importantly, why are we actually using it? And the other thing that, it's here is that, in case, because a lot of people go, well, I am seeing people that are, vaccinated and getting sick, and that's why I'm not putting my shot. The reality is that, and the best example that I can give you is that if you're in a car, you put your seatbelt on, right? And you're not putting it to look for an accident. You're actually using it in case there's an accident that you will actually, yes, your shoulder can hurt, your neck can hurt, but you're going to be safer with the seatbelt on. And that seatbelt on is our vaccines. Next, please. And part of the things that I told you is that, and a lot of the conversation that you will have with a lot of people is that, yes, it came to the market. It's different. Came to the market, in a short term, but it's very important to understand that the technology that we are using right now, it took 20 years to get to this point, to the point that we already have been using this technology and other things, and it has been safe, effective, to the point that I used it, my wife, my family, and my kiddos. Then, and not only that, we have already vaccinated, at least with one vaccine, half of humanity. Then if it was something there that we needed to see it, we will be seeing it. Next, please. And very important, I cannot leave you alone unless I give you like some type of types of progression and shields for all of you. Then at the end of the day, it's very important to figure out what's next. And it's you as your parents. It's a lot of questions, but please make sure that we have getvaccineanswers.org. You can send your zip code to GetVax, and there could be a lot of conversations there, and you can find where's the best way to get your vaccine, and have conversations with your parents, family, and teachers and friends. And by the way, this is a conversation, and that's the idea. It's not I'm tired, and probably you are all tired on fighting and yelling and doing stuff. This is something that probably, COVID-19 will be here for a while, but especially right now that we're getting at the end of the year, that we have Thanksgiving coming, we have, a lot of holidays until New Year's, that we can decide and actually make it, the probability of getting sick and actually getting someone sick smaller. Because and then we'll talk about schools in the next point, but this is not just for us, but for the community. Next, please. Now, I'm going to tell you what I'm loving about this stuff. And why? Because at the beginning, everybody will tell you, well, you know what? Young adults, teens, and preteens and children actually do not.
Did we lose Dr. Shapiro? Okay. Let's give him one more second. Okay, let's give him 1 second. He said he's gonna rejoin and
Okay, familia, I'm so sorry. I have no idea what happened.
Okay.
I'm going to have this one as an emergency one.
Okay. Okay. I have my emergency one, and I'm going to be talking a bit. How's the echo right now? Is it good?
You're good.
Perfect. Then I'm going to start again with this one, and I have my emergency one over here. That way, in case it gets worse, we just switch. Well, going back, and this is actually having feedback. I'm going to turn off this one. Here we go. Then one of the important things is that we already, and I felt to the point that, this is not a simple cold. There's a lot of pediatric patients getting sick. Probably more than 6.4 million kids right now have been sick. And most importantly, we are now seeing, something called prolonged COVID. Prolonged COVID is, sometimes that you survive COVID-19. It was a mild cold, runny nose, cough, fever. You were not happy, headache, probably a week. You stayed at home. Afterwards, a couple of weeks back after, you can actually start having problems with your heart, with memory, and other parts of your body. Then that's actually prolonged COVID. And we're seeing a lot of in adults, but now we're seeing it more in kids. And of course, one of the things that and I work in the area of California, South California, and I have seen a lot of families being destroyed where you had, family members that have passed away due to COVID-19, and that has been the total number of more than 140,000 children that have lost someone that they loved, that they were taking care of them. Next, please. You will hear this and I will tell you for sure, and just raise your hand on the if you have heard about this. And if I tell you right now that you can get at the possibility of actually getting your heart inflamed, would you do something? Hell no, of course not, right? And right now the vaccine actually creates that or not, but I have really good news for all of you. And I will go back step by step with this part, but the most important thing here that we have is that if you need to choose if you need to choose, this is a weird question, but bear with me.
Watching this webinar, what's going on? I'm sorry. I was
sorry. If you need to choose how to get inflammation of your heart, it's not the vaccine. It's actually the disease. The infection, the COVID-19 infection gives you, and you see it there, it's 150 per 100,000 instead of 2 every 100,000 when you actually get, the inflammation from the vaccine. Then, familia, it's clear that still getting vaccinated, it's a safer way to protect your heart and your entire body, because we already talked about prolonged COVID. We already talked about going to the hospital, and the other inflammatory stuff that's happening. Then it's still better to get vaccinated and be protected than, getting exactly, the virus and inflaming your heart, the myocarditis. And still, that's why I got my kids vaccinated, because I still believe that I'm protecting them better with the vaccine rather than just, playing lottery and getting, in front of COVID-19. Next, please. Family. This is clear because a lot of us, we need to see the numbers of where we are going, how is it moving, and most importantly, what's the scientific data there. We have been given already more than 7 billion doses in the world. That means half of the world already has at least one vaccine, and they are starting to be protected. And a lot of them, especially here in the US, we already have 1 year of information of this. Then we have, at least half of the world. Here in the US, 200 million people. From them, a lot of million of teenagers. And right now we open the doors for 5 to 11. And the interesting part of 5 to 11 is that we already have the information from the adults. We have already information from the teenagers on the millions. And right now they check with Pfizer, what was the best dose, if it was safe, and most importantly, if it was effective. And as a parent, that's one of the important things that I want to make sure that I'm doing. Then, was it safe? Yes, it was. Does it have side effects? Yes. Arm pain, fever, malaise, bone pain, and that's about it. And all of them can actually, most of the kids actually do not have it, and they go away in a couple of days, and they can be handled with anything that you have at home. And that's amazing to hear as a human being that it's safe. And the other important thing is, I don't care how safe it is if it's not working, right? I'm not going to be injecting myself if it's not working. It doesn't have a purpose. The great news is that it protects above 90%. The efficiency is more than 90%. And that's a great news for all of us. And it's safe and effective on that part. Next, please. We have heard a lot of information from this one, and I'm going to do it slowly on this one because I think that it's a very important conversation to have. It's spiraled down, if there's a connection between vaccines, specifically COVID-19 vaccines, and infertility. And right now, at the beginning, we didn't have enough information. Why? Because there were not enough pregnant women at the beginning. We were not giving that many vaccines, but that was before. Right now, there have been many, many, many thousands of females already that had a pregnancy that was successful. And not only that, when they get vaccinated at any term, at any point of their pregnancy, they are also given the antibodies to their kids. And not only that, at the moment that they're breastfeeding, they're still protecting their kids. And with the breast milk, they have actually the antibodies, and they're protecting their kids against COVID-19. Then we have seen here in a lot of different settings, especially with the CDC, that they have been checking, a lot of, more, almost 200,000 pregnant women. How was their pregnancy? If they had any issues, and if there was no red flags, there was no, we checked for a couple of things. We checked if, first of all, if there were any abortions in the meantime, if suddenly, that they lost the baby. Or if there were any complications with mom, or if at the moment of birth there was any complications for mom or the kid. And everything has been amazingly well, and it hasn't shown anything that will go like, oh my God, stop, or we need to do this, or we need to do that. We don't have anything close to that. And we have seen that, and a lot of the vaccines concerns were specifically with Pfizer and Moledina, and there has been no link, no association. Those are the words that we need to be looking for: association, link, or connection. Next, please. You will hear a lot about immunity, and you will hear two things. One, that we cannot overload our immunity, and the other one is that it's better our body to learn by itself getting the infection, and that actually will protect us better. Both of the things with COVID-19 are wrong assumptions, and let me tell you why. Our body is amazing. Our immunity is amazing. It actually fights, probably thousands of infections every day, and we actually not even feel it. But the most important thing right now is that part of the whole process is what we know about this virus and what we do not know about this virus. A lot of viruses before. One of them is the example of chickenpox. You can actually get chickenpox, and your body understands how to produce antibodies, and naturally, like you got it, and you were sick, you didn't have the shot, and you got sick. Your body will create amazing response for almost the rest of your life with that one, and that actually will help you a lot. And that's the most important thing that you have in front of you. With COVID-19, it's not the case. That's the sad part. A lot of people were thinking, well, I got it once, my antibodies are going to be strong, and I'm going to defeat COVID-19. I do not need the shot. But sadly, we have seen again and again people and teenagers and kids that get sick again and again and again. And because they have the antibodies, that doesn't mean that they will be stronger the next time, or if they're not going to end up in the hospital. That's why it's way better to train your bodies to make sure that you are taking care of yourself, and you have the extra layer of that barrier to protect yourself and everybody else. And you can see here the numbers the rate of breakthrough cases. The disease was 5.5 times higher in those with prior disease versus vaccinated. Then, that's why we need to close the door, train our body, and make sure that we're doing the best thing. And, I would love to tell you that if you got COVID-19, don't vaccinate, you're good. Your body's strong enough, you will create enough antibodies, but sadly, it's not the case for everyone. Next, please. A lot of people are asking, and this is kind of interesting and important. We're seeing here that, am I worried about long-term effects of the vaccine? That's a common question. It's very, very important. We have already known more than, plus minus 100 years, just to give you a round number of information of how vaccines work. When can we see, the red flags of something weird happening? And usually it happens at the first 6 weeks when we are giving the vaccine. That's when we see a lot of issues. And the other thing is, we already have, a lot of 3.5, almost 4 billion people already vaccinated. We have not seen anything that can tell us, well, we need to be worried about this. And, that gives me a lot of sense of calm. And the other thing is we're seeing right now more issues with long haulers of COVID-19 rather than the patients that actually got the vaccine. Then we need to make sure that we're understanding where's our risk and our pain points. And our pain points is actually with the disease that we're seeing that it's actually now hitting us, now doing all this stuff, and everything else that we have regarding, the vaccine points to everything that, there's really, we have not seen long-term effects. And, right now the vaccine has been safe, in way better than just getting the infection. Then it's something that we need to understand and see it. You're going to have, and again, going back to the seatbelt, we want our seatbelt on. Next, please. Oh, this is fun. A lot of people are going to say, well, you know what? I'm going to school. I'm doing better. I'm having fun. I'm done. Why do I need to get vaccinated? My probabilities of actually dying from this are very small, and that's true. That's completely true. But we need to think a couple of other things. The Delta variant actually came in and changed the dynamics of everything that we saw. You probably remember in summer when we were telling you, well, guess what? You're going back to school completely. And you were like, what? Yes, you're going back completely to school. But we were feeling freedom, but the Delta variant was actually, flying around us. And the problem with the Delta variant is, actually, let me step back a little bit. Any variant has three options. The more people get sick, the more the virus can mutate, and has three choices. One is that it mutates so much that it doesn't work. Hasn't happened. We're still in the pandemic times. Second thing is you can actually have something that the virus can be more aggressive, can kill more people. Thanks God, we are not there. So yes, I will answer gladly that question. We have the entire Greek alphabet for it. Then we have a lot of mutations cooking in. If you actually go to the World Health Organization, there's an entire list of letters and numbers, and there's a lot. Then in the variant, at the end, what happened actually with the Delta variant, that so many people actually got sick that Delta variant knew how to jump faster with one person to another and get us sick. Then with the Delta variant, when we started going out to the community, to school, and we have Delta variant, it was a horrible combination. I'm not going to do a heart, but it was like a horrible combination. And that actually started making more people sick, more kids sick, more teachers sick. And we have seen a lot of sadly, the empowerment of the Delta variant. And in schools that were not using masks and they were not vaccinating on the zip code, we saw more kids ending up on the hospital and having, at least being sick and things that we can avoid. 1 year ago, we didn't have there was no vaccine then. We didn't have a lot of opportunities or tools to defend ourselves. Right now, we have, of course, the mask. And secondary, we have specifically something to prevent all these headaches, and it's actually the vaccine. Next, please. Very important, you will hear it in the news. It's very weird, but you need to know this. There's right now 2 Pfizer vaccines specifically for pediatric patients. One is 5 to 11, and you can see the orange one. It's 1/3 of the dose. Is the one that I started talking about, that it's safe and effective, more than 90% protection. And the other side, you have the purple one, that is actually the one that we use from 12 and above for teenagers and adults. Then that's kind of the important thing that you need to know about that part. Next, please. This is the fun part, and this is, please throw me curbsides if you have heard something about a parent, family member that have a question about it. This is you have me. I promise I'm going to be quiet until I hear all the questions, and I'm going to be here with you in the next almost half an hour. I want hard questions. I want the issues that you're hearing. I want to hear anything that you're having around you and your parents and everybody else. And I'm here for you.
All right. Well, Dr. Shapiro explains everything so well. I'm actually a big fan of his, so I'm so excited to have him here. But we have some questions in the chat. You can also raise your hand and we can take live questions. But I want to get started. Lawrence is asking, something I have heard often is how this virus does not affect children as much and they don't need to get vaccinated. Can you talk more about that and why they should? So you've already covered about that, but if you want to talk a little more about that.
Gladly, Ayaan. The important thing that we need to see right now is what's really happening now. Because if you ask me the same question, probably by April 2021, I will have a different answer with different data. But right now that we know that 1/5 of the cases right now are pediatric patients, that we saw from almost 6.5 million cases in almost 2 years, we saw 1 million cases appearing right now in the past 6 weeks of pediatric patients, meaning that, about 0 to 17. Apart from that, we started seeing a lot of the hospitals that are devoted for kids with more cases and more people ending up, more kids and teenagers ending up on the hospitals. And those are enough red flags. Plus, we now are understanding that COVID-19 jumps from one person to another. Then the reality is that, yes, kids, the mortality, thanks God, it's very, very low, very, very low. But we're starting to see prolonged COVID. It's almost 1 in every 10 kids and teenagers who have a chronic problem with loss of smell, taste, arrhythmias, inflammation of the heart because of the disease, headaches, bone pains, and other stuff that we're starting to uncover. Then when we see the compare those groups with the people that actually, the kids and teenagers that have the vaccine, we are, you can see the difference. People that are vaccinated are safer and do not have as many complications as the other group. Then, and plus, imagine that you don't care about yourself and you say, well, okay, I will survive. I will not have, like the multi-inflammatory systemic inflammation syndrome, and I'm not going to have prolonged COVID. But unless you live by yourself, you still have contact with other people. And this virus doesn't distinguish if you're old, young, or whatever you're coming from. This virus can jump from one person to another. And when it jumps from one person to another, it can actually harm other people that have their immunity very, very low. Then that's why we all need to make sure that we're taking care of each other and making sure that, we're protecting us. And by protecting us, we're protecting the community.
Thank you so much for that. What is the best way to engage with persons who say my work doesn't require this? I just don't see why I need this. This question's from Bob.
It's a great question. And first of all, I'm not really going to talk about mandates. I'm not going to go on that part. I'm going to stick kind of on the part of medicine right now and try to give a different way of feeling, because it's not me against you or you against me, or it's not required. That's why I'm not doing it. The reality is that, and probably you will not remember this, and you probably will laugh when I'm telling you this. Will you, and I want to see your face when I tell you this. Can you imagine people smoking in an airplane? Okay, can you imagine teachers smoking in a school? Well, that was allowed. All of those stuff was allowed, and that was part of the general things. Actually, when I was born, and I'm not going to tell, I'm 21, of course, the cars didn't have a seatbelt. And oh yes, there were no seatbelts, and we were on front of the car. Then there's things right now that we know that are wrong, and we did it with public health opinion. And a lot of people didn't like the, like, you're taking away my rights of smoke inside of an airplane. You're taking my rights because this feels uncomfortable, and I'm not okay using a seatbelt, and so forth. Or teachers, like, how dare you don't allow me to smoke inside of my classroom in front of the kids? Then there were a lot of changes, to the point that, right now we know that all those things are collective, are done to protect each other. Then I got vaccinated, and I'm using a mask to protect you, and you're using a mask, and hopefully you get the vaccine to protect me and my kids. And not only that, the young kids and the adults and people that have cancer and autoimmune problems and people that do not know they are sick. Then at the moment that we get vaccinated, first of all, and I see it, and I'm going to be completely blunt, I want to be there for my family. I see this because, there's no way that we can hide almost 700,000 people deaths in the US and in the world. It's on the millions. We cannot hide that, or the consequences of actually not working, or being sick and being on the list of transplants for a lung or a kidney or whatever, or being intubated on the intensive care unit. And that's probably not that much for your age group. I'm going to tell you the truth. It's not probably for your age group, but the idea that we leave pools of people not vaccinated makes the virus makes it easier for the virus to jump from one person to another. And that's where we need to kick in the public health part and do our part.
Yeah, amazing. And next question is, can you give us information about how the booster shots work compared to the first two vaccine shots?
Yes. I promise you that nobody on the world is excited to get more shots. I can. Okay, we neutralize that one. Yes, I promise you that nobody on the world likes, yes, get more shots. I know that feeling. I'm a doctor. I get my shots every year. I don't have a choice. And there's a lot of things that, we want to make sure that we're protecting each other. We have a lot of shots that we need, like 3 or 4 or 5 shots to have our body learn how to protect itself and create memory for the long term. And that's the important thing that we need to start with. Right now, with the COVID vaccines, we were measuring how long our body was going to continue producing those antibodies. And we started to see with Pfizer and Moledina, the same thing as Johnson & Johnson, that the amount of protective antibodies was going low after around 6 months of being there. Then we started seeing that it went down. We started seeing that it slowed down, and not only that, we started to see that our people were getting sick and ending up on the hospital that were already vaccinated. Then we were like, okay, well, you protected very well for 6 months. Now what do we do? And the idea of the booster shot is to create right now, again, a reminder and a message to everybody: hey, we're not over. We're not over. Boost your antibodies. Boost your antibodies. Make sure that you're protecting yourself and everybody else. And that's why we need the booster shots. Right now, at least for pediatric patients and kids and teenagers, we do not know if that will be necessary or not. And we're still figuring out, but things to be hearing right now. If you start hearing that the amount of antibodies that pediatric patients, kids and teenagers are producing is going down, probably will need a reminder 6 months afterwards. If you start hearing that more kids are getting sick, even though that they're vaccinated, probably we will need a booster shot. And most importantly, the thing that we do not want to hear of is if we start hearing about more variants that are not covered by the vaccine, then we'll probably will need a booster shot with some type of updates for it.
Thank you. Another question is, some vaccines have, you get a vaccine at 0 months, and then you get a vaccine at 2 months, and then you get a vaccine at 6 months, a sort of primary series, and then you're good for 5 years. Do you anticipate the COVID vaccine being something like that, or a more annual vaccine?
It's a beautiful question. And the things that I will be hearing is, if we start hearing more of lingering, the antibodies going down, or if we start hearing that there's new variants, or we're hearing that, simply we're ending up on the hospital more often, that those would be the key words that I will be waiting for and hearing. If that's happening, then probably we'll need some type of boosters or annual vaccine. But the frustration for all of us is that we have never been here before. And that's what, even though that we go like, oh, I'm ready to finish with this. I'm ready to end up with this. I just want to be free from the mask and the vaccines and all this crazy stuff. But sadly, it's not the time right now to close the door on this, because we haven't finished yet. And we need to continue adapting the same way that the Delta variant came out and we were celebrating 4th of July, like no masks. And we went, probably 2 weeks after, we were like, oh, no, we need a mask. This virus continues to spiral down. And the important thing is not, the question right now should be, how can we be resilient? How can we protecting each other? And, if someone actually knows, please let us know, because right now, sadly, we just are learning from the virus day by day. And it's way better, by the way, than it used to be 1 year ago, because 1 year ago, we didn't have a squat. We didn't have pills. We didn't have, medications. We didn't have antibodies. We didn't have vaccines. Right now it's changing. Then at least even if the infections go up, but we start seeing that the vaccines are working and we are just feeling bad and we're okay, that's the whole win of the vaccines, that we are not losing people, not losing family members.
Thank you. We have 2 more questions and then we know you have to run. But the first question on the topic of variants is, other than, I don't know if getting vaccinated helps prevent the development of new variants, but is there another way to prevent the development of new variants?
I was going to use my mask, and I have no idea where's, here we have my mask. We need to mask. That's the other thing. We need to create as many barriers between us and the virus. Then, there will be people that don't like certain things, but I can tell you for sure that the more barriers we create for this virus, the safer we'll be. And the idea completely about mutations and variants and everything else is that we are the only industry that we know that it's very efficient on creating this amount of COVID-19. There could be a lost animal somewhere in the world that is the same thing, but we are the ones that are carrying the disease right now, and we're getting sick from it. Then if we as humans, we take care of each other, we wash, probably we have it already, we're from part of the brain everywhere, like wash your hands, make sure that you're not doing any crazy stuff, putting your mouth, nose, or eyes, or making sure that you're wearing your mask when when you can, and in spacious places, make sure that you're getting vaccinated. If you're going out there, make sure, please, if you're having a meeting or anything, we need space. The more space we have, the better. More oxygen and thing moving from one side, the better. The more vaccinated people, the better. The more masks, the better. When we start taking away all this virus that we have, we're getting closer to the virus. Then that's kind of where we are with that.
Yeah, I really like that. Do you have any travel advice for nearing the holidays? And I know a lot of my friends are planning on traveling, so that's a big question right now.
It's a great point, and it's a moment that practically a lot of us haven't seen family members for more than 2 years. Then we have that feeling that we want to be present with family members. And first thing, if you're traveling for Thanksgiving, make sure that, or Christmas or New Year's, make sure that you're bringing those alcohol drops. It's very easy. If you're traveling by train, bus, car, airplane, or whatever, if you're washing your hands and making sure that the places that you're touching are a little bit more safer, because a lot of people pass through it. Then just make sure that you're aware. You don't need to be using gloves because the virus doesn't go inside of your skin, but you need to wash your hands. That's simple, doesn't hurt. Can make your hands feel weird, but the other thing is, make sure that if you can get vaccinated today, you will still going to have a little bit more of antibodies by Thanksgiving. Then it's next week. Then at least you will have some protection. And most importantly, if you start right now, you will continue to have a full protection by Christmas and New Year's. And doing that, those three things are kind of the main points for this. And family, it's extremely important, and we're getting close to the end, that we are all humans. There's a lot of feelings regarding this. There's a lot of, pointing fingers. There's a lot of yelling, and it's hard. It's hard for all of us to be on the same boat. That's why when we start this type of conversations, no matter if we're traveling or going or moving, we need to start the conversations from our hearts, from the point of understanding that we are all afraid of this. We are all fed up of this, and we really, really want to make sure that we're all safe. Because I can promise you that all your families and my family want the same thing for all of us. We want to be safe. We want to be enjoying life. We want to be happy and grow and do amazing things, and give all the tools to you that you're the next generation, to live life and enjoy it and perceive the life the way that we were perceiving it before. I don't know if that's better or worse, but at least give you the opportunity to have better chances to do more things than we did. Then whenever you're having this type of conversations, it's not that you need to win or lose. Right now, you need to understand that on the other side, there's another human being that has a lot of feelings. And if you ask someone that actually lost someone because of COVID-19, they will have a different story versus someone that it has never seen someone on their town or city that has been sick. Then we need to start with the heart, with truth. And the most important thing is we're still humans. COVID will end. I promise you. I don't know if it's going to be, and by ending, meaning that it's not going to be as horrible, as terrifying as it is right now. But it will end. Then we need to remember that we're still humans. We need to take care of each other. We need to be humble, and we need to be kind. And that's why you have us. And sometimes as adults, we are weird, by the way, and that's okay also, because we are still at the same time that you're learning. We're learning also with the same process with COVID-19. Then we need to continue having our hearts open and create conversations.
So some of my friends traveling to Pakistan who have which has very bad COVID rates. They're just, they need to see their family. They haven't seen them in 2.5 years. I know you touched on that, but you think they'll be okay? Other than washing your hands, do you think these types of things can truly protect you in even where COVID cases are so high, deaths are so high, many people don't wear masks, even though they do, the people around them don't?
Ayaan, I share with you the same pain. My entire family is from Mexico, and they are passing right now, even though that I have a weird name that, my entire family is from Mexico, and they are struggling with the same questions. And vaccine rates are not as what we expected to be. And we can only trust science right now. We can only trust what we have in front of us, Ayaan. And mask, if it works 5%, 10%, or 20%, or 50%, it's better than zero. Then the mask is extremely important. Making sure that we're creating social distancing, making sure that if we're going to have a gathering around our families. It can be in an open space. It can be, winter is coming for sure. It's very easy in Mexico. It's a little bit easier in Mexico, and probably in Pakistan, the same thing, depending on the region. But, there's things and tricks that we can actually do to still have some type of socialization, some type of family moment without putting everybody at risk. And the more barriers we use, the better it will be for everybody.
And this brings us to our last question before you have to go, which is, can you talk a little bit about herd immunity? So when will we get there, and where do we have to be, what percentage? And it's kind of an elusive goal, but with the variant and all, what might that look like?
It's an amazing question, and I'm going to give you a timeline, and after that, I'm going to give you my. It's not my. I don't have a professional number right now because nobody knows. But we started first with 80%, and after that, we moved it to 85%. And right now, I don't want to even talk about percentage. In order to get herd immunity, it's going to be a combination of a lot of things. It's going to be a combination of people that already got sick and survived and got the vaccine, and the other chunk will be actually people that are vaccinated, and this will actually make the virus slow down, and to the point that it's looking this way, that it will be kind of the same way that we fight against influenza or RSV or other viruses. This will be probably a virus that will be here, not the way that we see it right now, not the horrible virus that we're seeing, but something that it will be there, and we'll use a vaccine. And we'll probably, right now, the good news is that we're getting more pills in the US and also in UK that are fighting against COVID if you get sick. Very important, if you get sick, because you need to survive and get sick in order to do that part. And still, prevention is the key of this. And I think it's going to be a combination of those, Ayaan. And my promise is that I will be back with you by January, February, and see where we are. I hope that I'm wrong, but all the numbers are going up at this moment in many parts of the world, here in the US also. Then we have all the the flashing lights there, like da 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 da. Then we need to be making sure that we're protecting each other, and most importantly, protecting us and our families.
Thank you, Dr. Shapiro, for being here. We know you have to run, but it's been absolutely amazing to have you here, and we hope to see you again soon. Thank you so much.
Always a pleasure. And I'm going to leave a little link on the bottom part over there. If anybody has more questions, please put it there. I'm there for all of you. And continue the good fight, continue the fight of creating conversations, because some of the times we just don't have forums like this one that you can have a back and forth conversation, an honest conversation with feelings and everything. Then thank you so much. And part of this is, your organization is awesome. And I hope that with Vacunate Ya and This Is Our Shot, that we actually were talking yesterday with Dr. Fauci and the president also from the American Academy of Pediatrics about where we are and where we're moving. Then please just keep the conversation going.
Thank you. Thank you. We are going to move into our quick training. We are going to do that real quick. We know we're over time, but we want to do the main point of this training, which is how to talk to your fellow students about the vaccines. So with that, I want to introduce our amazing California ambassador who is storming the country talking about vaccines. She's absolutely amazing. 17-year-old Ani, take it away.
Hi, my name is Arin Chaglasian. I am indeed from California, and I have vaccine hesitant parents, so this was something that's really important for me. And my grandma right now is actually in the ICU, and she was recently intubated because she has lung cancer and she's not vaccinated, which just shows how important it is to get vaccinated. So yeah, what I do is I'm in Teens for Vaccines. I'm an ambassador, and I'm really passionate about educating teens and youth on how to talk to their parents about getting vaccinated, because I am not even fully vaccinated yet. I just got my second dose on the 12th, so I'm still waiting for my 2 weeks. And how to talk to their parents and friends and family members in general about getting vaccines. I can't tell you how many slideshow presentations I've made for friends to, talk to their parents about it. And do you want to go to the next slide? And then we can move on to one more slide. Oops. Yes. Sorry. So telling others why they should change their mind doesn't always work. I can tell you for sure. Lots of parents love their children so much, so they're super stubborn and you're not going to convince anybody in one conversation. So it's really important to not directly be aggressive with it or be like, you're super wrong, I'm right. And we want to respect everyone's autonomy and their beliefs. But we also want to give others information, but not before hearing some of their concerns, and make sure that we don't continue to invalidate their feelings, because often this can be a really emotional decision for so many families. So students, caregivers, even teachers, like my teacher, I go to a district where my school is one of the has the lowest vaccination rates, and we have anti-vax teachers too who have gotten belief exemptions from getting vaccinated. And it's really important to ensure that we give people the correct information, and but still acknowledge that some people may just have a huge lack of information because they come from underserved communities. Often elderly people don't have access to the internet. They really just use Facebook, and it's not much of a credible source sometimes. So they may actually have some serious concerns about vaccines based on correct information that is overlooked because there's so many people who have created these conspiracy theories. So we're going to practice how to talk to people who may have doubts for vaccines. So let's hear an example of a text you can get. Hey, I heard you just got vaccinated. Aren't you scared? I've heard a lot about it and it makes me think it's a bad idea. Here are some ways that we can text back to this person. You guys can drop in the chat which one you think would be the best to receive, which one you would feel most comfortable to receive, and which one you think is the correct answer. Well, it's number 3. So number 3 is really the best answer because the other ones are a little bit more aggressive, and number 3 really ensures that we are listening to other people's concerns and making sure that we can offer them resources or turn them in the right direction so that their concerns can be alleviated, and they can find that a lot of their concerns may not be as big of a deal as they might think it is, or they're just misinformed. But oftentimes there are people who have genuine concerns about the vaccine that is really important, and they deserve the correct answers. Wait, are you an anti-vaxxer? So this might not be the best choice.
I think we have a hot mic. Just a reminder to make sure that you're muted throughout the presentation.
Thank you. So this response totally disregards someone's concerns, right, that they had, and can make them become really defensive. And now anti-vaxxer can be viewed as has a negative connotation. So we don't really want to do that. Next slide. COVID is scarier. It's killed more than 3 million people. Although this may be a factual statement and many of us can think, oh my God, this is like great. This is proved, it's so important. But this still definitely disregards the other person's feelings and concerns. And it's really important we care for this person. And that's why we're trying to help them get vaccinated. And that's why we need to talk about their concerns and not just disregard them and just say some number out there, because that is not going to convince them at all that, COVID is not a thing. Here's another example. They can say the vaccine seems so rushed. Maybe they didn't test it enough. How do we know they didn't cut corners? How would you reply? You guys can look over these options and see which one you guys would think is best. This is the one that is best. I was worried about that too. can I share some stuff that made me feel better? This is a really great way to talk about someone. I think often anti-vaxxers will get villainized, and there are definitely a few villains in the mix, but most of them, especially parents, are truly just concerned about their kids, and they really just want to get the answers to make sure that this is the best decision for their kids. And so talking about our experiences, and I'm sure that all of us, whether we are vaccinated or not vaccinated, have had some concerns about the vaccines and have had questions about it. So talking about it, and talking about how it made you feel and how some things that helped you. I was super scared of needles. I am still super scared of needles. And I spoke to a friend who was scared of needles, and that was like the only reason she wasn't getting vaccinated too. But also speaking about some of the concerns you had, whether it is, the backlash you might get from family, especially with students, or just overall health concerns, is really important. Although we can sometimes trust doctors and researchers, oftentimes these people don't always believe that. And also this continues to disregard what they're feeling and their concerns, because we just say, oh, you're not a doctor or researcher, so nothing you say is important. You just have to listen to these people. What you're saying is lies. And also they'll often just say that they're super corrupt. And most of these people have, been on Facebook for a very long time as well, and may have been misinformed about some researchers and doctors. They've been working on a version of this vaccine since the SARS outbreak in 2003. I've actually used this with a student before as well. And she would just say exactly what this says. It's just like, well, maybe they've had this mRNA technology for a very long time, but it's only been given out recently. And I don't want to be the first guinea pig that gets it and all of this stuff. Before sharing information, make sure that people are ready to hear it. And it's also really important that we don't initially just give like this huge contradiction and rebuttal to what they're saying, and we first hear their concerns. And then maybe this can be a resource you show them, but this shouldn't be an immediate thing that we say, because often it will just backfire on us. Okay, next one, sorry. We are not telling people what to do or what they should think. We are listening to people and responding authentically to their concerns. And you don't need to be a healthcare expert to have good conversations with people. To wrap up, help the person make a plan to get vaccinated or to plan to check in later about their concerns.
Thanks, Andi. That was amazing. I loved hearing your experience. Last thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the 3-5-3 method, which This Is Our Shot and Vaccinated, who are co-hosting this presentation, our amazing partners, use a lot. So 3 steps to starting the conversation is ask the questions and listen. And make sure you create an alignment of safety and find common goals. And then remember the 5 key messages that Dr. Shapiro was talking about earlier. The vaccine will keep you safe. Side effects are common, but they are minimal. Vaccines are very effective. The vaccine is built on 20 years of research. And if you have questions, ask. And then 3 post-conversation steps: acknowledge agency and personal choice, keep communication open, follow up with them, and offer to find a vaccine for them. Shows them that you are there for them. Just going a little deeper into that. 3 steps to starting the conversation and initiating it: ask and listen to the answer. What do you think about the vaccine? Why do you feel that way? Where did you get this information? What concerns do you have about the vaccine? Ask these questions. It'll make them feel important. It'll make them get it off their chest, which is the first step and the most important step towards getting the vaccine. Create an alignment of safety. I would be scared too. Let's do what's safe here, and then make sure that they know that you care about their safety. That's what's going to help. Find common goals. We all want kids back in school. We all want to be with our loved ones. These common goals will help find their own reason to get vaccinated, and that's the most effective way. And then ending the conversation, we want to offer to help make an appointment. We want to offer to help make a transportation plan. Uber and Lyft offer free rides to vaccination. So if you guys need those resources, contact Teens for Vaccines and This Is Our Shot, and we will get you those resources. And then vaccines.gov, type in your zip code, it'll give you vaccines near you. I think it was 75% of Americans live within 5 miles of the vaccine. Amazing news. Offer to get back to them. You know, we have to follow up with them and plan it to check in a few weeks about vaccine concerns. So have realistic expectations, right? So your conversations may lead to a range in outcomes. You know, it's not going to take one conversation to get this done. Sometimes the conversation may escalate, so it's okay to respectfully wrap up, let them digest the information and cool down, and offer to have another conversation with them. And remember that we are meeting people where they're at. So be aware that not everyone will shift from uncertainty. Again, that all comes back to it may take several conversations. And we want to tap into the power of community and solidarity and voices from all walks of life. So I want to talk about our amazing partner organization, Mask Together America. Mask Together America is full of public health advocates who have vowed on exposing the life-threatening yet preventable risks of contracting COVID-19. And their administrative team has come from a very diverse background, and some are content creators, medical personnel, public health experts, and writers and educators. A few of them are family members and friends, have had long COVID, and are survivors, and have had dire effects of COVID. And everyone in the group contributes to the fight and supports each other voluntarily. So Mask Together America is absolutely amazing. I am the youth coordinator there, and Mask Together America and Teens for Vaccines co-produced this amazing PSA that we wanted to share with you. So I'm just going to play this quick 1-minute video. Let me know if there's any technical difficulties, and enjoy.
I'm Arin from California. I'm the founder of Teens for Vaccines and fully vaccinated against COVID-19.
My name is Kira Mooney. I'm from Massachusetts and I'm vaccinated.
My name is Pranav. I'm from California and I'm fully vaccinated.
I'm Samhita. I'm from New Jersey and I'm fully vaccinated.
My name is Trenton Barfield. I'm from Louisiana and I got vaccinated to help stop the spread of COVID.
This pandemic isn't about creating hatred and division. It's about expressing empathy and love for your fellow brothers and sisters.
My name is Luke. I'm from Connecticut and I am fully vaccinated.
My name is Shreya. I'm from New Jersey and I'm fully vaccinated.
I'm Joshua. I'm from California. I'm vaccinated.
My name is Acharya Bhattacharya and I am vaccinated.
Hi, my name is Lindsay. I'm from New York and I've been vaccinated since April.
Hi, my name is Vignesh Padamanur. I live in California, and most of all, I'm vaccinated.
My name is Ayaan, Moledina. I'm vaccinated and I'm masked up.
See how powerful that is? That's just absolutely amazing. We have some great news. We are making another PSA and we need you. This is so exciting. We need you to take a vertical video clip. It's super short. It'll literally just take you 5 seconds to take a video. We need your first name. Say, my name is Ayaan. I am 13 years old. I'm in Texas and I'm vaccinated. Make sure to wear a mask and smile while you're doing it. You can tell when you're smiling even under a mask. And send those submissions to masktogetheramerica@gmail.com. We'll get all of this information in our follow-up email, but we are so excited. This is the first step that you can take to help, because youth has power. So other than having these conversations, participate in this PSA and we will truly make a difference. We'll get this information along with the recording slides out in our follow-up email. So you want resources? We have toolkits, we have social media graphics. That's all at madetosave.org/resources. Again, all of these links will go out in the follow-up email. It's okay to have questions, like Dr. Shapiro said. GetVaccineAnswers.org is a great resource, vetted and created in partnership with the CDC. And remember to always remind your fellow teens about their routine vaccinations, not just COVID. And you can visit teensforvaccines.org/vaccines-for-teens. And thank you to all of our partners. Thank you, Ani, for being here. Thank you, Mass Together America. Thank you, Ilan Shapiro, Dr. Ilan Shapiro. Thank you, Dr. Hussein Lalani. And to our partners who co-hosted this event, Bakunateya and This Is Our Shot. This has absolutely been amazing. So all of our social media, websites, all of that for our respective organizations is here. Check us out, follow all of us, and we will be spreading the word, and we will get out of this pandemic stronger than ever. If anybody has any questions, we will be sticking around for the next few minutes. Otherwise, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. You have an amazing night.
We're so grateful. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. This is beyond awesome. Beautiful.
Thank you, Bonnie. I'll see you soon.
Thank you, Ayaan. You did amazing. All of you did amazing.
Thanks, Julie. It was a lot of fun. It was really a lot of fun. Thanks, Ani, for being here. You did amazing.
Thanks. Do you need anything? We're going to see each other tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow? What day is it? Is it Friday?
Yeah, it's Friday. We have a package run on Friday and then on Saturday too. We'll present.
Yeah.
So I'll see you tomorrow.
I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, Ani.
Bye. Thank you, Ayaan. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for hosting this event.
Thank you for coming out. It's awesome to have you here. Hopefully we'll get some more submissions, Julie.
I hope so too.
I'll send it out in the follow-up email. We had 250 signups, no, 300 signups. So I'll send it out to all of the people who registered.
You know, everyone should understand if we have more people doing this together is better than a single voice, because people feel more empowered and feel more secure.
Yeah.
We need more confidence to have a community.
Yes, definitely. That's amazing advice. And we can spread the word. We can do this. We can do this. I'm going to stop my share now. Okay. Stop the recording.